The verdict arrives not with violence, but with silence. A low, resonant rumble vibrates through the forest floor, so deep it seems to emerge from the earth itself. Leaves quiver. Branches sway gently. The air thickens with tension as a towering silverback rises to his full height. His immense frame framed by shafts of filtered sunlight. Muscles ripple beneath dark fur, and his broad chest expands with deliberate authority. In that single controlled motion, the dispute ends before it has truly begun. No blow is struck, no chaos erupts. Justice, in the realm of gorillas, is delivered through presence alone. The challenger freezes. Moments earlier, the disturbance had threatened to fracture the tranquility of the forest. A younger male, restless with ambition, had edged too close to the center of the group, his posture betraying a dangerous blend of curiosity and defiance. His approach unsettled the females, who shifted uneasily while juveniles paused mid-play. The subtle imbalance rippled outward like a disturbance across still water. In a society built upon cohesion and stability, such agitation carries profound consequences. But before instability can take root, authority intervenes. The silverback stands immovable, his gaze steady and unyielding. His power is not merely physical, but psychological, a culmination of age, experience, and evolutionary design. A single display settles the conflict instantly, like a verdict pronounced without appeal. The challenger lowers his eyes and retreats, instinctively acknowledging the hierarchy that governs his survival. Order is restored not through violence, but through certainty. Among gorillas, authority is centralized, embodied in the dominant silverback who serves as both protector and arbiter. Unlike the volatile coalitions of chimpanzees or the vocal tribunals of baboons, gorilla societies function as cohesive family units led by a single commanding figure. His role extends beyond dominance. He is the nucleus of stability, guiding movement, defending against predators, and resolving disputes before they escalate into chaos. In this system, enforcement is neither communal nor contested. It is singular, absolute, and profoundly efficient. The silverback's presence is an evolutionary masterpiece. His massive sagittal crest anchors powerful jaw muscles capable of processing fibrous vegetation, while his imposing stature deters rivals and predators alike. Yet his most formidable weapon is restraint. Violence is a last resort, deployed only when intimidation fails. Instead, he relies on ritualized displays, chest-beating, ground-slapping, and thunderous vocalizations that convey dominance without risking injury. These behaviors, shaped by natural selection, minimize physical conflict while preserving authority. The earlier disturbance lingers like a fading echo. The younger male had pressed too close, testing the invisible boundaries that define rank within the group. Such challenges, though subtle, threaten the delicate equilibrium upon which gorilla society depends. A destabilized hierarchy can trigger fragmentation, increasing vulnerability to predators and diminishing reproductive success. For this reason, rule-breaking, whether through agitation, intrusion, or territorial pressure, is swiftly addressed. The silverback responds with a controlled display. He rises upright, his chest expanding as he delivers a rhythmic thunder of hollow blows against his sternum. The sound reverberates through the forest like distant drums, carrying information encoded by evolution itself. Chest beating serves as an acoustic signal of size, strength, and confidence, allowing rivals to assess the risk of confrontation without engaging in combat. The deeper and more resonant the sound, the more formidable the individual. In this moment, biology speaks louder than aggression. The challenger hesitates, calculating his odds. His brain, though smaller than that of humans, is equipped with the cognitive capacity to evaluate risk and interpret social cues. He recognizes the futility of resistance. With a submissive gesture, he averts his gaze and withdraws, dissolving the conflict before it can ignite. The verdict is clear, enforced not through bloodshed, but through evolutionary wisdom. Around them, the group remains calm. Females resume feeding, plucking tender shoots and leaves with deliberate precision. Infants cling to their mothers, their wide eyes absorbing the lesson unfolding before them. Juveniles, reassured by the silverback's authority, return to playful exploration. The forest exhales. Stability has prevailed. This tranquility reveals a deeper biological truth. Gorillas, despite their immense strength, are among the most peaceful of the great apes. Their primarily herbivorous diet reduces competition for resources, diminishing the need for aggressive encounters. Instead, their social structure prioritizes cohesion, with the silverback serving as both guardian and mediator. His authority ensures that disputes are resolved swiftly, preserving harmony within the group. Yet the true power of his rule lies not in intimidation alone, but in the loyalty he commands. Female gorillas exercise a remarkable degree of choice in selecting their leader. They remain close to a silverback who provides security, guidance, and stability, and they may transfer to another group if these qualities are compromised. This dynamic transforms dominance into a collective agreement. The silverback's authority endures not merely because he is feared, but because he is trusted. The ecological twist emerges here, subtle yet profound. What appears to be a rigid, patriarchal hierarchy is, in fact, a partnership shaped by evolutionary incentives. The silverback protects the group from predators such as leopards and from rival males seeking to seize control. In return, the females grant him reproductive access and social allegiance. Their presence near him is not coerced but chosen, reinforcing his authority through proximity. Stability, therefore, is not imposed, it is collectively sustained. As the troop begins to move, the silverback leads with deliberate calm, forging a path through dense undergrowth. His decisions dictate the rhythm of their lives, where to forage, when to rest, and how to avoid danger. The group follows instinctively, clustering around him in a living testament to his role as protector. In the perilous environment of equatorial forests, unity under strong leadership increases survival, reducing vulnerability to predators and environmental stress. The earlier challenger lingers at the periphery, subdued but not banished. His retreat illustrates the efficiency of guerrilla justice. Rather than inflicting injury, the silverback enforces distance, allowing the offender to remain within the group while reaffirming the hierarchy. This restraint minimizes risk and preserves social cohesion, a strategy refined over millennia of evolutionary pressure. Above them, sunlight filters through the emerald canopy, illuminating particles of dust suspended in the humid air. The forest hums with life. Insects chirp, birds call, and distant streams whisper through the undergrowth. Within this intricate ecosystem, the gorilla troop moves as a unified entity, their harmony sustained by the authority of a single steadfast leader. The silverback pauses beside a clearing, lowering himself to rest as the others gather around him. A young infant clambers onto his back, tugging playfully at his fur. The enormous male tolerates the intrusion with quiet patience, embodying both strength and gentleness. This moment reveals another dimension of his role, not merely a ruler, but a guardian whose presence fosters safety and continuity for the next generation. Such scenes underscore the profound intelligence embedded within gorilla society. Their social stability reflects a balance between dominance and cooperation, shaped by ecological demands and neurological adaptations. The silverback's centralized authority reduces conflict, ensures group cohesion, and enhances reproductive success, illustrating the evolutionary advantage of decisive yet restrained leadership. As dusk descends, shadows stretch across the forest floor, and the troop settles into a tranquil nesting site. Leaves are gathered and woven into resting platforms high among the branches, each nest a testament to instinctive engineering. The silverback remains vigilant, positioned at the heart of the group, his massive silhouette framed by the fading light. His watchful presence assures safety as night envelops the forest. The day's disturbance has long faded, yet its lesson endures. No confrontation erupted. No blood was shed. A single display, measured and absolute, restored equilibrium with unassailable authority. Because among gorillas, justice is neither loud nor chaotic. It is delivered with quiet certainty, enforced by presence, and accepted without dispute. Gorilla trials are quiet, but final. The scream arrives before the theft is even finished. A flash of grey fur darts across the forest floor, fingers closing around a fallen fruit that did not belong to him. In the space of a heartbeat, the air fractures. Leaves tremble. Heads snap upward. A dozen pairs of amber eyes ignite with sudden awareness. The rule has been broken, and the forest knows it. What follows is not chaos, but something far more precise. The surrounding troop surges forward in a tightening arc, their movements instinctive yet deliberate, as if drawn by an invisible current. The offender freezes, clutching the stolen prize, his body stiff with the dawning realization that he has miscalculated. His mistake was not hunger, nor desperation, but audacity. He reached beyond his rank, trespassing into a hierarchy older than his own memory. And now, judgment gathers. From the canopy above, the dominant male descends with chilling composure. His presence is not announced by noise alone, but by the subtle shift in posture rippling through the group. Subordinates avert their gazes. Juveniles scatter. Even seasoned females pause, their bodies angled in cautious deference. Authority among macaques is not an abstract concept. It is a tangible force, encoded in muscle tension, facial expression, and the unspoken language of survival. Rank determines who eats first, who breeds, who rests, and who suffers. It defines the rhythm of daily life with ruthless efficiency. The dominant approaches, his gait slow and deliberate, each step a proclamation of power. His canines flash in a silent warning. The offender crouches low, presenting his neck in a gesture of submission, but the court has already assembled. This is no spontaneous outburst of aggression. It is a trial, conducted without words yet governed by precise rules. Within macaque society, social order is enforced through immediate and public consequences. The law is not written, but it is universally understood. The crowd closes in, forming a living tribunal. Some individuals lean forward, eager to align themselves with authority. Others hesitate, weighing the risks of involvement. Every movement carries political weight. To support the dominant is to reinforce the hierarchy. To challenge him is to gamble with exile, injury, or death. The offender trembles at the center of this tightening ring, his fate suspended in the collective will of the troop. This is the mechanism of rank enforcement. Among macaques, power flows through a dominance hierarchy structured by age, strength, alliances, and inheritance. High-ranking individuals wield the authority to punish transgressions, while lower-ranking members must submit swiftly to avoid escalation. The speed of consequence is essential. A delayed response invites disorder. An immediate one reinforces stability. In this world, hesitation is weakness, and weakness is punished without mercy. The dominant lunges. A blur of fur and fury erupts as he strikes, driving the offender backward with explosive force. Screams pierce the forest canopy, echoing through the trees like alarms. The accused collapses under the assault, his stolen fruit abandoned in the dust. Yet the violence is not indiscriminate. It is targeted, measured, and purposeful. The punishment serves as both correction and spectacle, a lesson delivered not only to the offender, but to every watching eye. Around them, the troop reacts with calculated precision. Some individuals join the attack, eager to demonstrate loyalty. Others retreat, choosing neutrality over risk. Each decision shapes the social fabric of the group. The trial is not decided by a single authority alone, but by the crowd's response. In macaque society, consensus is forged through action. To step forward is to condemn. To step back is to acquit. This collective enforcement ensures stability within an environment defined by competition. Resources are finite, and access to food can determine survival. By regulating who may claim what and when, the hierarchy minimizes conflict that could otherwise fracture the group. It is a system refined by evolution, balancing aggression with cooperation to maintain order in a densely populated society. Yet beneath the surface of dominance lies a subtler currency: grooming. To the untrained eye, it appears as simple hygiene: fingers delicately parting fur, removing parasites, soothing the skin. But within the macaque world, grooming is far more than cleanliness. It is diplomacy. It is alliance. It is protection purchased through patience and touch. Those who groom the powerful invest in their own security. A subordinate who regularly tends to a dominant individual builds a bond that can mean the difference between punishment and protection. When conflict arises, these alliances emerge like shields. A well-connected macaque rarely faces judgment alone. Supporters intervene, deflecting aggression, dispersing attackers, and altering the outcome of social disputes. As the offender writhes beneath the dominant's assault, a young female hesitates at the edge of the crowd. Her eyes flicker with calculation. She has groomed the accused in quieter moments, exchanging comfort for companionship. For an instant, she considers stepping forward. But the dominant's authority is absolute. To intervene would be to challenge the hierarchy itself. She withdraws, her silence sealing the verdict. The trial concludes as swiftly as it began. The offender, bruised and trembling, crawls away in submission. The dominant retrieves the fallen fruit, asserting his right with calm finality. Around them, the troop disperses, returning to their routines as if nothing has occurred. The forest exhales. Order has been restored. This efficiency reveals the evolutionary brilliance of macaque societies. By resolving disputes through immediate and visible enforcement, they prevent prolonged conflicts that could endanger the group. Such systems are supported by neurological adaptations that enable complex social cognition. Macaques possess highly developed brains capable of recognizing individual identities, remembering past interactions, and predicting future outcomes. Their ability to navigate alliances, hierarchies, and shifting loyalties reflects a level of intelligence shaped by the demands of social living. Yet the narrative contains a deeper reversal. What appears to be brute force is, in truth, a sophisticated mechanism of governance. Violence is not chaos, but communication. Every scream, every lunge, every act of submission conveys information about rank and consequence. In this world, power is both displayed and negotiated, reinforced through spectacle, yet stabilized by cooperation. And beneath the surface lies another truth. Dominance is never permanent. The same crowd that enforces authority can one day dismantle it. Alliances shift, coalitions form, and even the most formidable leader can fall if the balance of support changes. The hierarchy, though rigid in appearance, remains fluid in reality, an ever-evolving structure shaped by ambition and survival. As twilight settles over the forest, the troop gathers once more around a fresh cache of fallen fruit. The dominant feeds first, his authority unchallenged. Subordinates wait in silence, their patience a testament to the lessons of the day. No one dares to break the rule again. Not yet. For among macaques, justice is neither spoken nor written. It is enacted in flashes of fury and gestures of submission, in alliances forged through touch and loyalty, measured in moments of crisis. Their society is governed not by debate but by demonstration, a living testament to the evolutionary power of order. Macaques do not debate rules. They demonstrate them. The judgment begins with a touch. Fingers move with meticulous precision through dense black fur, parting, searching, extracting invisible parasites from the skin. Grooming, at first glance, appears tender, an intimate ritual of comfort beneath the emerald canopy. But in the charged society of chimpanzees, every stroke carries meaning. Every pause is calculated. Every alliance is negotiated in silence. What looks like affection is, in truth, a contract. And when the ritual is broken, the consequences unfold with the inevitability of gravity. The disruption is sudden. A sharp bark slices through the humid air as a muscular male lunges forward, displacing a subordinate from a prime feeding branch. The intrusion is swift, deliberate, and unmistakable. Instantly, the forest tightens. Grooming ceases. Bodies stiffen. Heads turn. What has occurred is not merely aggression, it is a political maneuver. And within seconds, a case begins to form. The accused stands rigid, his dominance display reverberating through the troop. Shoulders squared, hair bristling, he issues a low pant hoot that rolls like thunder through the trees. Yet this is not an isolated confrontation. Around him, the social machinery of chimpanzee society awakens. Observers gather. Allies drift closer. Rivals exchange glances charged with intent. The moment crystallizes into a trial without words, governed by an intricate system of power, memory, and expectation. Among chimpanzees, rules are neither fixed nor impartial. They are political. The same act, stealing food, striking a subordinate, or displacing a rival, may be tolerated in one individual and punished in another. Authority determines legality. Power defines morality. In this world, justice is not blind. It is acutely aware of rank, reputation, and allegiance. What unfolds is not a simple dispute, but a test of influence, where outcomes hinge on who stands beside whom. The challenger does not attack immediately. Instead, he advances with calculated restraint, flanked by two loyal supporters. Their approach is deliberate, their posture unmistakably coordinated. This is coalition justice in action, a system in which multiple individuals enforce outcomes through intimidation and unity rather than brute force alone. The power of the group transforms individual strength into collective dominance, ensuring that no single chimpanzee, however formidable, stands unchallenged when alliances converge. As tension mounts, the troop rearranges itself with astonishing precision. Subordinates retreat to the periphery, carefully avoiding entanglement in a conflict beyond their rank. Females watch intently, their presence far from passive. In chimpanzee societies, high-ranking females wield subtle yet profound influence, supporting allies, protecting offspring, and shaping the social landscape through strategic grooming and association. Even their proximity can tip the balance of power. The accused attempts to assert control, stamping the ground with explosive force. Leaves scatter. Branches tremble. But the opposition does not yield. Instead, they close ranks. One individual steps forward, chest inflated, while another positions himself at the flank, effectively blocking any retreat. There is no need for immediate violence. The message is clear. Resistance will be met not by one adversary, but by many. This is the genius of coalition enforcement. Rather than risking injury in a direct confrontation, chimpanzees rely on intimidation, coordination, and psychological pressure. Body blocking restricts movement. Vocalizations amplify threat. Unified displays create an overwhelming spectacle of dominance. The accused hesitates, calculating the odds with the same neurological sophistication that enables tool use and strategic planning. His brain, rich in social cognition and powered by a highly developed neocortex, assesses alliances, recalls past encounters, and predicts the consequences of defiance. The science behind this behavior reveals a society governed by advanced intelligence. Chimpanzees possess exceptional memory, capable of recognizing dozens of individuals and recalling intricate social histories. Their decisions are shaped by cognitive processes analogous to those of humans, involving risk assessment, emotional regulation, and strategic foresight. Neurological studies have shown that their social interactions engage regions of the brain associated with empathy, cooperation, and conflict resolution. In essence, their trials are adjudicated not merely through instinct, but through reason. Yet within this courtroom of leaves and shadows, reputation holds equal weight. The accused is not judged solely for his present transgression, but for the echoes of his past. He has a history, a pattern of aggression that lingers in the collective memory of the troop. Repeat offenders are punished more swiftly, not because of written laws, but because expectation itself becomes evidence. The group anticipates guilt, and anticipation accelerates justice. This phenomenon, rooted in social learning, reinforces stability within the community. By responding decisively to habitual transgressors, chimpanzees deter disruptive behavior that could threaten group cohesion. Reputation functions as a biological ledger, recording alliances, betrayals, and acts of cooperation. In such a system, trust is currency, and memory is enforcement. The standoff reaches its climax as the coalition advances. Their synchronized movement is unmistakable. They do not strike at once. Instead, they encircle, pressing inward with mounting pressure. One individual lunges forward, forcing the accused to retreat. Another emits a deafening scream, amplifying the spectacle. The combined display overwhelms resistance. With no viable escape, the accused lowers his posture, emitting submissive pant grunts, a universal acknowledgement of defeat. Violence, though always possible, is rarely necessary. The resolution is achieved through psychological dominance rather than physical destruction. The hierarchy is reaffirmed. Order is restored. And the forest, once electrified by tension, settles into a fragile calm. But the narrative conceals a deeper reversal. What appears to be chaotic aggression is, in truth, a sophisticated system of governance. Coalition justice prevents tyranny by ensuring that no single individual can dominate without consent. Even the most powerful alpha male relies on allies to maintain his status. Without support, his authority dissolves. In this way, chimpanzee society mirrors the dynamics of political systems, where power is negotiated, maintained, and ultimately limited by collective will. The grooming ritual that began this episode now reveals its true significance. Far from mere hygiene, grooming is the glue that binds alliances. Each careful stroke represents an investment in future protection, a silent negotiation of loyalty. Individuals who groom frequently and strategically secure allies who will defend them in moments of crisis. Those who neglect these social bonds find themselves isolated, vulnerable, and exposed to the full force of coalition justice. As the accused retreats, he is neither exiled nor destroyed. Instead, he is reintegrated, his submission restoring equilibrium. Within minutes, grooming resumes. Fingers return to fur. Tension dissolves into quiet cooperation. The same individuals who participated in the trial now sit side by side, reinforcing bonds through touch. Justice, swift and public, has fulfilled its purpose, not to eliminate, but to stabilize. This fluidity is the cornerstone of chimpanzee survival. Living in complex fission-fusion societies, where groups split and reunite throughout the day, chimpanzees depend on adaptable social strategies to navigate ever-shifting alliances. Their political intelligence allows them to cooperate in hunts, share resources, and defend territories against rival communities. Without such governance, chaos would fracture the troop, undermining their ability to survive in competitive ecosystems. Yet the watchers remain vigilant. High above, juveniles observe the aftermath, absorbing the lessons encoded in the confrontation. Through observation and imitation, they learn the rules of their world: who commands respect, who commands loyalty, and how power is won or lost. Their education is not delivered through instruction, but through experience, shaping the next generation of strategists in an unending cycle of social evolution. As twilight filters through the canopy, casting dappled shadows across the forest floor, the troop resumes its daily rhythm. Feeding, grooming, and resting unfold with an air of quiet normalcy. But beneath the surface, every interaction carries weight. Every gesture is remembered. Every alliance is recalibrated. Because among chimpanzees, justice is never final. It is continuous, unfolding in every glance, every touch, and every calculated decision. Authority is challenged, defended, and renegotiated with relentless precision. Power is not bestowed, it is earned, sustained, and scrutinized. The trial is constant, and the jury is always watching. Dust erupts beneath pounding feet as the chase explodes across the open savanna. A shrill bark fractures the stillness, followed by a cascade of snarls and guttural roars. A young male baboon bolts across the sun-scorched earth, glancing over his shoulder as a larger rival barrels toward him with terrifying precision. There is no canopy to conceal the confrontation, no shadows to dilute its meaning. Under the unforgiving glare of the equatorial sun, every movement is exposed, every decision witnessed. This is not merely a dispute. It is a public trial, and the entire troop has assembled as judge and jury. Unlike the hidden tribunals of the forest, baboon justice unfolds in the open. On the African plains, visibility is survival. With predators lurking across vast horizons, social order must be unmistakable, and authority must be displayed with absolute clarity. In this exposed landscape, ambiguity invites chaos. Rank is not whispered in secrecy, it is broadcast through spectacle. Every chase, every threat display, and every act of submission reinforces the structure that binds the troop together. Reputation in this world is evidence, and it is always on display. The accused stumbles, skidding to a halt as his pursuer closes in. His crime is neither obscure nor trivial. He dared to challenge access to a feeding site reserved for higher-ranking individuals, seizing a resource that symbolized authority. Such transgressions cannot be ignored. In baboon society, food is more than sustenance. It is a declaration of status. To take what is not permitted is to challenge the hierarchy itself. And challenges in the open plains demand immediate resolution. The dominant male halts within striking distance, shoulders squared and mane bristling like a crown of fire. His canine teeth flash in the sunlight, gleaming with evolutionary intent. These formidable weapons, elongated through millennia of sexual selection, serve as both tools of combat and instruments of intimidation. But violence, though ever present, is only one component of enforcement. The true power of baboon justice lies in its visibility. Around them, the troop converges. Females clutch infants to their chests. Juveniles climb termite mounds for a clearer view, and subordinate males hover at the periphery, calculating risk with cautious precision. This gathering is not accidental. It is ritual. The outcome must be seen, understood, and remembered. In baboon society, the public nature of punishment ensures that order is preserved not through secrecy, but through shared awareness. The dominant male advances with deliberate restraint, issuing a thunderous bark that echoes across the savannah. His rival recoils, presenting his hindquarters in submission, a universal gesture acknowledging defeat. Yet submission alone is not always sufficient. The troop watches intently, their collective attention transforming the confrontation into a social spectacle. In this arena, justice is performed as much as it is delivered. Baboon hierarchies are enforced through a dynamic interplay of harassment, threat displays, and coalition support. Unlike solitary confrontations, these trials often involve multiple participants, each shaping the outcome through strategic alignment. Allies drift toward the dominant, reinforcing his authority through proximity alone. Their presence amplifies his power, transforming individual dominance into collective enforcement. Coalitionary behavior, deeply rooted in primate evolution, allows individuals to maintain stability within complex social networks where survival depends on cooperation as much as competition. The accused attempts a cautious retreat, edging toward the shade of an acacia tree. But his path is intercepted by another male, who steps forward with a low, menacing grunt. This is coalition justice in motion. No single blow is struck, yet the message is unmistakable. The offender is being sentenced through displacement, systematically denied access to vital resources. He is pushed from the shade that shields against the relentless heat, barred from the food that sustains his strength, and excluded from the central positions that offer safety within the troop. Displacement is more than punishment. It is a biological sentence. On the savannah, proximity to the group's center reduces the risk of predation. Peripheral individuals are more vulnerable to attacks from lions, leopards, and hyenas. By forcing an offender to the margins, the hierarchy imposes a cost measured not only in hunger, but in survival itself. The ecology of the open plains has shaped this system with ruthless efficiency. Rank determines who rests in safety and who faces danger alone. The offender retreats, his shoulders hunched, his gaze lowered. His defeat is unmistakable. Yet the trial is not complete. Around him, the crowd shifts with calculated indifference. No ally steps forward. No defender challenges the verdict. In baboon society, support is a strategic investment, extended only to those whose victory is plausible. To defend a losing individual is to risk association with weakness, a liability that can reverberate through future conflicts. And so the crowd remains silent. This is the true machinery of baboon justice. The verdict is not delivered by a single authority, but by collective consensus. The troop's refusal to intervene seals the offender's fate. Social isolation becomes both punishment and warning, reinforcing the hierarchy without unnecessary violence. In this system, the absence of support is as decisive as any blow. Yet beneath the apparent brutality lies an evolutionary paradox. What appears to be relentless aggression is, in truth, a mechanism of stability. By enforcing rank through public displays and social pressure, baboons minimize prolonged conflict that could fracture the troop. Their society operates as a finely tuned balance between competition and cohesion, shaped by ecological constraints and neurological sophistication. Studies of baboon cognition reveal advanced memory and social awareness, enabling individuals to recognize allies, recall past interactions, and anticipate future outcomes. Reputation, therefore, is not ephemeral. It is encoded within the collective memory of the group. The narrative reveals its reversal as the dust settles. The dominant male, though seemingly invincible, relies on the crowd as much as they rely on him. Without the silent endorsement of his allies and observers, his authority would falter. Power in baboon society is not absolute. It is negotiated, maintained, and reaffirmed through visibility. The spectacle of dominance is not merely intimidation, it is communication, ensuring that every member of the troop understands the structure that governs their survival. As the offender is driven farther from the center, he is denied access to the cool shade beneath the acacia. The sun beats mercilessly upon his back, extracting a physiological toll that underscores his diminished status. Thermoregulation becomes a privilege of rank. High-ranking individuals conserve energy in the shade, while subordinates endure heat stress that accelerates fatigue and dehydration. Even the environment itself enforces the hierarchy, transforming social exclusion into a tangible biological burden. Gradually, the troop disperses. The dominant male settles into the shade, grooming a favored ally as a reward for loyalty. Females resume foraging, their infants clinging securely as the rhythms of daily life return. The offender lingers at the margins, his isolation a stark reminder of the consequences of defiance. Yet even in defeat, he learns. Each trial refines his understanding of alliances, boundaries, and opportunities for redemption. In time, he may ascend, forging bonds that reshape his fate within the intricate web of baboon society. High above, vultures circle on thermals, their silent presence a reminder of the ever-present dangers beyond the troop. The savanna remains unforgiving, a landscape where survival hinges on unity as much as strength. The hierarchy, though harsh, ensures cohesion in a world defined by uncertainty. By making justice visible, baboons reinforce the social bonds that enable them to thrive amid predators and scarcity. As the sun sinks toward the horizon, casting long shadows across the golden plains, the troop gathers once more at the heart of their domain. Order has been restored, and the lessons of the day are etched into memory. Every individual has witnessed the consequences. Every observer has learned the rules. Because among baboons, justice is not whispered in secrecy or hidden in darkness. It is proclaimed beneath the open sky, where every triumph and every defeat becomes part of the collective memory that governs their world. Baboon trials are loud because everyone needs to see the outcome. The theft is swift, silent, and almost successful, until outrage detonates through the canopy like a thunderclap. A nimble hand darts forward, snatching a ripe fig from the grasp of an unsuspecting juvenile. In an instant, the forest erupts. Piercing shrieks slice through the humid air, leaves tremble with explosive motion, and a flurry of tawny bodies surges toward the culprit. What begins as a simple act of opportunism transforms into a courtroom riot suspended high among the branches. Justice, in the world of Capuchin monkeys, is not deliberated. It is unleashed. The offender freezes for a fraction of a heartbeat, clutching the stolen prize as alarm calls cascade through the troop. Sharp, staccato barks reverberate from limb to limb, triggering a chain reaction of attention and agitation. Faces snap toward the disturbance. Eyes blaze with indignation. The theft has violated an unspoken code, and the response is immediate, visceral, and collective. Within seconds, the social order mobilizes. The accused is no longer merely a thief. He is the defendant in a trial conducted by instinct, emotion, and memory. Unlike hierarchies governed solely by brute dominance, Capuchin societies operate under a subtler yet remarkably sophisticated system: fairness enforcement. These small primates possess an acute sensitivity to inequity, a cognitive adaptation that underpins cooperation and stability. When a resource is seized unfairly or a social contract is breached, their reaction is swift and disproportionate. The outrage rippling through the canopy is not random aggression, but a coordinated response rooted in evolutionary necessity. In a world where cooperation determines survival, cheating threatens the fabric of the group itself. The troop converges in a frenzy of motion. Several individuals leap toward the offender, baring their teeth in sharp displays of intimidation. Their calls grow louder, harsher, echoing like a storm gathering strength. This is not a solitary reprimand, but a collective indictment. The trial unfolds through mobbing behavior, an organized outburst of harassment designed to isolate and punish the transgressor. Branches sway violently as the accused scrambles backward, his escape hindered by a barrage of scolding cries and aggressive lunges. Each movement reveals layers of biological sophistication. Capuchins possess highly developed brains relative to their body size, granting them exceptional problem-solving abilities and acute social awareness. Their enlarged neocortex supports memory, emotional intelligence, and the capacity to evaluate fairness. Studies have demonstrated that Capuchins reject unequal rewards, displaying agitation when they perceive injustice. This neurological sensitivity is not an anomaly. It is a cornerstone of their survival strategy, ensuring that cooperation remains beneficial and exploitation is discouraged. The offender attempts to retreat, but the crowd presses closer. One individual lunges forward, swatting at his flank. Another blocks his path, forcing him onto a narrower branch where escape becomes precarious. The mob's coordinated pursuit exemplifies social enforcement in its rawest form. There is no need for a dominant judge. The verdict emerges from the collective fury of the group. This is justice by consensus, forged through instinct and reinforced by experience. As the accused flees, his stolen fruit tumbles into the undergrowth below, a symbolic forfeiture that marks his defeat. Yet the punishment does not end with the loss of the prize. He is chased from the central feeding area, driven toward the periphery where isolation and vulnerability await. Displacement serves as both sentence and deterrent, depriving the offender of access to food, safety, and social interaction. On the forest floor, predators lurk. In the canopy, exclusion carries profound biological consequences. The troop's reaction reveals a critical narrative reversal. What appears at first to be chaotic emotion is, in truth, a refined system of governance. Anger becomes law. Outrage becomes order. Through collective enforcement, Capuchins maintain a balance that ensures the survival of the group. Their emotional responses are not weaknesses but specialized adaptations, evolutionary tools that regulate cooperation and punish exploitation with remarkable efficiency. This fairness-driven justice extends beyond theft. Repeated disruptions, such as monopolizing resources, violating grooming etiquette, or betraying alliances, trigger similar responses. Offenders quickly learn that antisocial behavior carries immediate consequences. The memory of punishment lingers within the social consciousness of the troop, shaping future interactions and reinforcing stability. Reputation, therefore, becomes both shield and liability. A known cheat is scrutinized more closely, judged more harshly, and forgiven less readily. Amid the chaos, juveniles observe from a safe distance, their wide eyes absorbing every detail. These young spectators are not passive witnesses, but apprentices in the art of social living. Through observation and imitation, they internalize the rules that govern their society. Each punishment becomes a lesson, each mobbing an educational spectacle. This process of social learning ensures that behavioral norms persist across generations, transforming momentary outrage into enduring law. The science behind this transmission of knowledge is profound. Capuchins are among the few non-human primates known for cultural traditions, behaviors passed down through learning rather than instinct alone. In certain populations, they use stones to crack nuts or employ tools to access hidden food. Such innovations require cooperation and trust, both of which depend on fairness. By punishing cheaters, the troop preserves the integrity of these shared practices, safeguarding the continuity of their culture. The offender, now panting and isolated, perches at the edge of the troop's territory. His earlier confidence has dissolved into wary submission. Though not permanently exiled, his status has been diminished. The memory of collective outrage lingers, shaping his future decisions. In time, he may regain acceptance through grooming, cooperation, and adherence to social norms. Redemption remains possible, but it must be earned. Gradually, the storm subsides. The scolding calls fade into the ambient chorus of the rainforest. Leaves settle, branches still. The troop resumes its foraging, unity restored through the enforcement of justice. A female retrieves a fallen fruit and shares it with her offspring, demonstrating the cooperative bonds that sustain the group. Grooming resumes, reinforcing alliances through touch and trust. Yet beneath this calm lies the enduring mechanism of social order. Every individual has witnessed the consequences of theft. Every observer has absorbed the lesson. The emotional intensity of the punishment ensures that it will not be forgotten. In Capuchin society, law is neither written nor spoken. It is felt, remembered, and repeated. This system reflects an evolutionary truth that transcends species. Cooperation thrives where fairness prevails, and societies endure when cheaters are held accountable. The Capuchin's instinctive reactions mirror the moral foundations observed in human communities, revealing that the roots of justice extend deep into the primate lineage. Their outrage is not primitive. It is profoundly intelligent, shaped by millions of years of social evolution. As golden light filters through the canopy, illuminating motes of drifting pollen, the troop moves forward with renewed cohesion. Alliances remain intact, resources are shared, and harmony is restored. The forest itself seems to breathe in quiet approval, its intricate web of life sustained by the invisible threads of cooperation and consequence. The thief watches from the margins, chastened but wiser. His failure has reinforced the order that binds them all. In this world of delicate balances and fragile trust, survival depends not only on strength or cunning, but on the willingness to abide by the unwritten code of fairness. Because among Capuchin monkeys, justice is born not from authority, but from collective emotion. Their laws are forged in outrage, refined through memory, and preserved through learning. Capuchins build law out of emotion. The verdict begins with a sound. A sharp, explosive bark slices through the stillness of the savannah, sending a ripple of tension across the golden grasslands. In an instant, heads snap upward. Bodies stiffen. Mothers clutch their infants closer as juveniles freeze mid-motion. The alarm call is unmistakable, urgent, precise, and charged with consequence. But this time, there is no leopard in the grass, no eagle descending from the sky. There is only silence. And within that silence, suspicion ignites. Attention recruits authority with astonishing speed. High-ranking individuals rise to their feet, scanning the horizon, their eyes sharp with evolutionary vigilance. The troop's response is immediate and unified, a testament to the Vervet monkey's most critical survival adaptation: communication. Among these primates, alarm calls are not mere expressions of fear, but complex signals that distinguish threats with remarkable accuracy. Different vocalizations warn of snakes, leopards, or aerial predators, each triggering a specialized defensive response. This neurological precision is rooted in advanced auditory processing and social cognition, enabling vervets to interpret danger and react collectively within fractions of a second. Yet today, something is amiss. The caller, a restless subordinate, remains tense, glancing around with nervous energy. No predator emerges. No shadow moves across the earth. The grass sways gently in the wind, revealing nothing but open terrain. Gradually, the troop realizes the truth. The alarm was false. And in the unforgiving calculus of survival, false alarms are not harmless mistakes. They are breaches of trust. A murmur of agitation ripples through the group. The tension shifts from external threat to internal judgment. What began as a warning has transformed into a trial. Among vervet monkeys, rules revolve around safety and group cohesion. Their survival depends on precise coordination, rapid communication, and mutual reliance. Each alarm call compels individuals to abandon feeding, seek cover, and expend precious energy. Repeated disruptions can weaken the troop, exposing them to real predators and diminishing their ability to forage efficiently. In this delicate balance, credibility becomes currency. To cry danger without cause is to gamble with the group's trust, and to lose is to risk exclusion. Authority emerges not through violence, but through attention. Dominant females, matriarchs of the social hierarchy, step forward, their presence radiating quiet command. Unlike many primate societies dominated by aggressive males, vervet troops are structured around female lineage. Rank is inherited, alliances are stable, and social order is maintained through cooperation rather than brute force. These matriarchs serve as arbiters of credibility, their reactions shaping the troop's response. The accused shifts uneasily under their gaze. His call has summoned authority, but not in his favor. At first, the punishment is subtle. Grooming partners turn away. Fingers that once parted his fur now remain still. In primate societies, grooming is far more than hygiene. It is social glue, reinforcing alliances, reducing stress, and establishing bonds of trust. To be denied grooming is to be stripped of comfort and connection. Elevated cortisol levels, the physiological markers of stress, rise in isolated individuals, weakening their resilience and lowering their status. What appears to be mere indifference is, in fact, a calculated sentence. The troop begins to reorganize. As they move toward a new feeding site, the accused finds himself nudged to the periphery. A dominant female blocks his path to the center, asserting her position with a silent yet unmistakable display. Others follow suit, subtly steering him away from prime feeding spots. In vervet society, central positions offer safety from predators and priority access to food. The edges, by contrast, are perilous. There, vigilance is constant, and danger arrives without warning. Exclusion, not aggression, is the primary instrument of justice. This form of punishment reflects a profound evolutionary strategy. By marginalizing unreliable individuals, the troop protects itself from disruption while avoiding unnecessary violence. Cohesion is preserved, and the cost of deception is clearly demonstrated. In such a system, survival depends not merely on strength or cunning, but on credibility. Trust determines access to safety, sustenance, and social belonging. The narrative deepens as juveniles observe the unfolding events. Young vervets are renowned for their capacity to learn through imitation and experience. Early in life, they experiment with alarm calls, sometimes issuing incorrect signals. But through observation and correction, they refine their understanding of predator-specific warnings. This process of social learning ensures that communication remains accurate and reliable across generations. Each trial, each moment of exclusion, becomes an educational spectacle, a lesson etched into memory. Scientific studies have revealed that vervet monkeys possess one of the most sophisticated vocal systems outside the human lineage. Their alarm calls function as semantic signals, each corresponding to a distinct threat. This neurological specialization demonstrates an advanced level of cognitive processing, bridging the evolutionary gap between instinct and language. Yet such a system relies on honesty. False alarms degrade its effectiveness, eroding the trust that underpins collective survival. The accused attempts to rejoin the group, approaching cautiously with lowered posture. But his reception is cool. A juvenile darts away. A female shifts her position, denying him proximity. Even the males, typically less involved in social arbitration, remain indifferent. The message is unmistakable. Credibility has been compromised. This moment reveals the chapter's ecological twist. What appears to be a vocalization of fear, a sign of vulnerability, is, in reality, the foundation of social authority. Alarm calls do not merely warn of danger, they regulate trust, define reliability, and shape the hierarchy of the troop. In this world, information is power. To be believed is to be protected. To be doubted is to be exposed. Gradually, the troop resumes its activities. They forage among acacia pods, pluck seeds from dry earth, and groom one another beneath the shade of thorny branches. Yet the accused remains on the margins, his isolation a silent verdict. His earlier call echoes not as a warning, but as a reminder, a misstep etched into the collective memory of the group. Time, however, offers redemption. Later, when a real predator slinks through the tall grass, a leopard moving with lethal grace, it is another alarm that pierces the air. The troop scatters with flawless coordination, fleeing into the safety of the trees. The accuracy of the call saves lives, reaffirming the value of credible communication. The accused watches from the edge, absorbing the lesson with sharpened awareness. Trust, once broken, must be rebuilt through consistency. In the intricate web of Vervet society, justice is neither violent nor arbitrary. It is precise, adaptive, and profoundly intelligent. Social exclusion regulates behavior, ensuring that unreliable individuals either reform or remain marginalized. By prioritizing cohesion over confrontation, Vervet monkeys maintain stability in an environment where cooperation determines survival. As dusk settles across the savanna, the sky burns with hues of amber and violet. The troop gathers upon a sun-warmed rock outcrop, grooming and resting as the day fades into twilight. The accused sits quietly at the fringe, no longer defiant but contemplative. Tomorrow offers another chance to prove his reliability, to rebuild trust and reclaim his place within the collective. Because among Vervet monkeys, authority is not imposed by force, but earned through belief. The value of an individual is measured not by dominance alone, but by the credibility of their voice. In a world where danger can strike without warning, trust becomes the ultimate currency of survival. And here, beneath the endless African sky, justice reveals its most subtle form. The trial here is trust. The law of the forest announces itself before dawn, carried on a sound so deep it seems to tremble through bone and soil alike. A thunderous roar rolls across the canopy, vibrating through leaves and echoing across mist-laden valleys. It is not the cry of a predator, nor the warning of imminent death, but something far more strategic, a declaration of ownership. The border has been reached, and the trial has begun. From the highest branches, a dominant male howler monkey throws his head back and unleashes another resonant call, his expanded throat vibrating like a living drum. The sound reverberates across kilometers of rainforest, ricocheting through trunks and vines, announcing strength, intent, and territorial authority. It is a biological proclamation shaped by evolution, a vocal display amplified by an enlarged hyoid bone that acts as a resonating chamber, allowing his roar to travel farther than almost any other land mammal. In this moment, the forest itself becomes a courtroom, and the verdict is carried on waves of sound. Nearby, a rival troop answers. Their reply surges through the canopy like distant thunder, a sonic counterclaim that draws an invisible boundary between competing domains. No blood is shed, no claws strike, yet the stakes are immense. For howler monkeys, territory is survival. The leaves they consume, young, protein-rich, and carefully selected, are scattered across predictable feeding routes. To lose a border is to lose access to nourishment. To misjudge a confrontation is to jeopardize the stability of the entire troop. In this world, every roar is both a warning and a negotiation. The dominant male pauses, his massive chest rising and falling with controlled intensity. Around him, the troop remains still, their golden eyes scanning the forest horizon. Females clutch their infants, while juveniles cling silently to branches, absorbing the gravity of the moment. The confrontation is not impulsive, but calculated. Howler monkeys live under strict metabolic constraints, subsisting primarily on leaves that offer limited caloric return. Unlike fruit-eating primates with abundant energy reserves, they cannot afford the cost of prolonged combat. Conflict for them is a luxury they cannot sustain. Thus, their laws prioritize avoidance over aggression. The leader roars again, his call deepening into a resonant crescendo that reverberates through the valley. This is enforcement through intimidation, an acoustic strategy designed to resolve disputes without physical confrontation. The rival troop hesitates, their answering calls faltering. In the delicate balance of territorial law, the strength of a voice determines the fate of a boundary. Sound becomes power, and power dictates survival. But the trial is not solely between rivals. It unfolds within the troop itself. Moments earlier, a younger male had ventured too close to the contested border, agitated and restless with ambition. His movement risked provoking a costly confrontation. Such recklessness threatens the group's stability, exposing them to potential injury, displacement, and resource loss. In response, the dominant male had intervened, positioning himself between the troop and the danger. With a single commanding roar, he reasserted control, signaling not only to rivals but to his own followers that the decision to advance or retreat rested with him alone. This is the essence of Howler monkey governance, centralized enforcement shaped by ecological necessity. Leaders punish risky decisions not through violence but through control of movement. By guiding the troop's path, they determine whether conflict is pursued or avoided. In doing so, they safeguard both territory and survival. The younger male lingers uneasily on a peripheral branch, his earlier boldness now subdued. He emits a tentative call, weaker and less resonant than that of the dominant. The troop does not respond. No individual approaches. No ally offers support. Instead, the group remains oriented toward the stronger leader, their loyalty expressed through stillness and attention. Influence in this society is measured not by defiance, but by the willingness of others to follow. Gradually, the dominant male shifts direction, leading the troop away from the contested border. Branch by branch, they follow, their movements fluid and unified. The younger male hesitates, then trails behind, his diminished authority unmistakable. His error has not been punished with aggression, but with indifference. The group's decision is clear. Credibility belongs to the leader who preserves stability. In Howler monkey society, this silent consensus functions as justice. The ecological implications of such decisions are profound. Territory serves as a living map of resources, guiding the troop toward optimal feeding sites while minimizing unnecessary energy expenditure. Young leaves, rich in digestible proteins and essential nutrients, are not evenly distributed across the forest. Instead, they emerge in seasonal patterns shaped by rainfall, sunlight, and soil chemistry. Leaders who understand these patterns ensure the survival of their followers, navigating routes that maximize nourishment while avoiding costly conflict. To lose a border is to lose this map. Without access to established feeding grounds, the troop would be forced into unfamiliar terrain, where nutritional deficits could weaken individuals and threaten reproductive success. Such outcomes are not hypothetical, but evolutionary pressures that have shaped howler monkey behavior over millennia. Their enlarged digestive systems, adapted to ferment fibrous plant material, allow them to extract nutrients from leaves. Yet this process is slow and energetically demanding, necessitating long periods of rest. Every unnecessary confrontation risks depleting precious reserves of energy. This biological reality transforms leadership into a matter of life and death. The narrative reveals its reversal in the aftermath of the roaring exchange. What appears to be a display of brute force is, in truth, an act of conservation. The thunderous calls are not invitations to war, but mechanisms of peace, designed to prevent violence through acoustic dominance. In a paradox of evolution, the loudest voices are those most committed to avoiding conflict. Their power lies not in fighting, but in ensuring that fights never occur. The rival troops' calls fade into the distance. Silence returns to the canopy, broken only by the rustle of leaves and the distant chorus of insects. The dominant male lowers himself onto a sunlit branch, his presence radiating calm authority. Around him, the troop resumes feeding, plucking tender leaves and chewing methodically. Infants cling to their mothers, while juveniles cautiously explore nearby branches. The tension dissolves, replaced by the steady rhythm of survival. Yet the lesson lingers. The younger male remains at the periphery, his diminished influence evident in the troop's collective behavior. When he shifts direction, none follow. When he vocalizes, no voice answers. Authority, once challenged, must be earned anew through reliability and restraint. In this society, credibility determines leadership, and leadership determines survival. As the sun climbs higher, illuminating the emerald canopy with shafts of golden light, the troop advances deeper into their domain. They move with deliberate precision, following established routes known only through generations of experience. Each step reflects the wisdom of their leader, whose decisions safeguard their access to nourishment and shelter. The forest unfolds before them like a living atlas, its pathways inscribed not on parchment, but in memory. Above them, the canopy trembles with life. Birds flash between branches, insects hum in the humid air, and distant thunder hints at the approach of tropical rain. Within this intricate ecosystem, the howler monkeys navigate with quiet certainty, their movements guided by laws older than language itself. Their trials leave no scars, spill no blood, and echo only as fading vibrations in the air. Because among howler monkeys, justice is not measured in combat, but in consequence. Leadership is proven through wisdom, authority through restraint, and survival through unity. The troop follows not the loudest voice alone, but the voice that protects them from danger and leads them toward abundance. And in the end, the verdict is never spoken. It is chosen. Their trial is the route the group chooses. The verdict begins as a song suspended in the morning mist. A crystalline note pierces the dawn, rising above the emerald canopy like a thread of silver light. It is answered instantly by another, deeper, resonant, and unwavering. Together they weave a duet that trembles through the forest, echoing across valleys and through corridors of towering dipterocarp trees. The melody is hauntingly beautiful, yet beneath its elegance lies a declaration of law. This is not merely music. It is a contract, a boundary, a trial sung into existence at the edge of territory. High above the forest floor, a bonded pair of gibbons launches their chorus into the humid air. Their voices intertwine with astonishing precision, the females' ascending trills entwining with the males' booming calls in a synchronized proclamation of ownership. This duet is one of the most refined acoustic displays in the animal kingdom, a territorial announcement encoded with identity, strength, and resolve. To human ears, it is enchanting. To rival gibbons, it is unmistakable. This forest belongs to them. The power of the duet lies in its evolutionary brilliance. Gibbons possess an enlarged throat sac and specialized vocal anatomy that amplify their calls, allowing them to carry across kilometers of dense rainforest. These songs serve as auditory beacons, marking boundaries with efficiency that minimizes the need for physical confrontation. In ecosystems where energy must be conserved and injuries can be fatal, communication replaces combat. Sound becomes law. From beyond the ridge, an answering duet rises. The rival pair's call echoes through the canopy, its rhythm sharper, its tone defiant. Instantly, the forest transforms into an acoustic courtroom. Invisible lines stretch between territories, drawn not with claws or teeth, but with resonance and memory. Each note is an assertion, each reply a challenge. The tension builds with every exchanged phrase, as if the trees themselves are listening. The resident pair intensifies their performance. Their voices grow louder, their tempo quickening as they swing through the upper branches with breathtaking agility. Arms extending like pendulums, they glide effortlessly between trees, propelled by brachiation. The specialized form of locomotion that allows gibbons to traverse vast distances with astonishing speed and efficiency. Their movement is both graceful and strategic, bringing them closer to the contested boundary while reinforcing their claim with every resonant note. This is escalation, governed by rules as ancient as the forest itself. Duets serve as boundary contracts, agreements maintained through consistency and strength. When respected, they prevent costly conflicts. When challenged, they trigger confrontation. As the calls intensify, the distance between the rival pairs closes. The melodies sharpen into sonic duels, each side testing the resolve of the other. The air vibrates with tension, and the outcome will determine not only territorial ownership, but access to survival itself. Within these forest domains lie critical resources. Fruiting trees that bloom in seasonal abundance. Gibbons rely heavily on ripe fruit, a high-energy food source that fuels their agile movements and supports their metabolically demanding lifestyle. Territory is not merely space, it is a living map of nourishment. To lose it is to surrender access to vital feeding zones, jeopardizing the stability of the pair and the survival of their offspring. The escalation reaches its peak as the rival pair approaches the boundary. Their calls overlap, crescendos colliding in a symphony of dominance. The resident male responds with a thunderous whoop, his chest expanding as he projects authority across the canopy. Beside him, the female's soaring trill rises in perfect harmony, reinforcing their unity. The duet is not just a territorial claim, it is a testament to partnership, an evolutionary alliance forged through cooperation and mutual defense. Then, in a blur of motion, the resident male surges forward. Swinging with astonishing velocity, he closes the gap, his momentum carrying him to the frontier of his domain. The rival male halts, poised upon a swaying branch, his body taut with tension. For a fleeting instant, the two face one another across the invisible boundary. Violence is possible, yet unnecessary. The confrontation is resolved not through combat, but through intimidation and reputation. The rival pair falters. Their calls diminish in intensity, fading into hesitant notes. Slowly, they retreat, swinging back into the safety of their own territory. The verdict has been delivered. The boundary stands. This moment reveals a profound ecological truth. In Gibbon societies, consistent defense secures territory without constant fights. Reputation becomes the cornerstone of law. Pairs that demonstrate strength and reliability through regular duets establish dominance that deters challengers, reducing the need for risky encounters. Over time, these acoustic contracts stabilize territories, ensuring access to food and minimizing energy expenditure. The forest thrives under this equilibrium, its resources partitioned through song rather than bloodshed. Yet the consequences of defeat are immediate and tangible. The losing pair withdraws, avoiding the contested fruiting zones near the boundary. Their retreat is not symbolic but spatial, reshaping their feeding routes and limiting their access to vital resources. This form of punishment, territorial exclusion, forces them into less favorable areas, where fruit may be scarce and competition more intense. The loss of a border is the loss of opportunity, a sentence measured in calories and survival. Young gibbons observe from a distance, clinging to their parents with wide-eyed fascination. Through these encounters, they learn the rules that will govern their future. Social learning, guided by observation and repetition, ensures that territorial laws endure across generations. Each duet becomes a lesson, each retreat a warning. In time, these juveniles will inherit their own territories, carrying forward the ancient melodies that define their world. The ecological twist emerges as the forest settles once more into harmony. What appears to be a lyrical exchange of song is, in truth, a system of governance, an acoustic treaty that regulates space, resources, and survival. Music becomes law. Harmony becomes order. In a paradox of nature, beauty functions as enforcement, transforming melody into a mechanism of stability. As sunlight filters through the canopy, illuminating orchids and mosses clinging to ancient trunks, the victorious pair resumes their daily routine. They forage among clusters of ripening figs, their movements fluid and precise. Their territory, secured through song, provides both nourishment and safety. Each fruit consumed is a testament to their success, each note sung a reinforcement of their claim. Below them, the rainforest pulses with life. Insects hum, hornbills glide between branches, and the distant rumble of a waterfall merges with the whisper of leaves. Within this intricate ecosystem, gibbons play a vital ecological role as seed dispersers, transporting the genetic legacy of fruiting trees across vast distances. Their territorial stability ensures the continuity of this process, shaping the very structure of the forest itself. As afternoon drifts toward evening, The victorious pair settles upon a sunlit branch, their silhouettes framed against the glowing canopy. Their duet, now softer and more harmonious, resonates once more, less a challenge than a reaffirmation. The boundary holds. The contract endures. In this world there are no judges, no written laws, and no spoken verdicts. There is only song. Because among gibbons, justice is not delivered through violence or decree, but through harmony and resolve. Their trials are fought in crescendos, their verdicts etched into the air by resonance and memory. Reputation secures peace, and territory is governed by melody. Gibbon trials are sung, not spoken. The sentence is delivered in an instant. A swift lunge, a flash of grey fur, and a sharp bark split the morning calm as a dominant lemur seizes a cluster of ripe fruit from beneath the grasp of a subordinate. The displaced individual recoils without resistance, retreating along the branch with lowered posture and averted gaze. No prolonged struggle unfolds. No dramatic chase disrupts the stillness of the forest. The verdict has already been issued. In the fragile ecosystems of Madagascar, priority access is law, and the rule is enforced with uncompromising precision. The feeding site settles into tense order as the dominant female secures her claim. Around her, the troop adjusts with instinctive efficiency. Juveniles halt mid-reach. Mothers shift closer to the center, and subordinate males withdraw to the periphery. This moment is not random aggression, but a demonstration of social structure shaped by ecological necessity. In lemur societies, particularly among species such as ring-tailed lemurs, female dominance governs access to food, resting spots, and mating opportunities. The hierarchy is unmistakable and swift in its enforcement, ensuring stability in environments where resources are unpredictable and competition is relentless. Scarcity sharpens the blade of authority. Madagascar is an island of extremes, its ecosystems shaped by erratic rainfall, seasonal droughts, and fluctuating food availability. During lean months, fruit becomes a rare and valuable commodity, forcing lemurs to compete for sustenance that determines survival. Evolution has responded with ruthless efficiency. Tolerance diminishes as scarcity intensifies, and even minor transgressions are met with immediate correction. Priority access ensures that those most vital to the troop's continuity, dominant females and their offspring, receive nourishment first, safeguarding reproductive success and genetic stability. The displaced subordinate lingers at the edge of the feeding site, his hunger palpable. His retreat is not cowardice, but calculation. In lemur society, resistance carries significant risk, and the cost of injury in an environment of limited resources can be fatal. Survival depends not on defiance, but on adherence to the invisible code that governs access to life's essentials. This is justice rendered through instinct, honed by generations of ecological pressure. Yet the law extends beyond visible confrontation. Beneath the canopy, another layer of governance unfolds. Silent, pervasive, and inescapable. A dominant female pauses beside a branch, pressing her scent glands against the bark. With deliberate motion, she leaves behind a chemical signature, an invisible proclamation of ownership. This act of scent marking is more than territorial behavior. It is legal signage written in molecules. Specialized glands located near the wrists, chest, and genital regions produce complex secretions that encode information about identity, rank, and reproductive status. To the human eye, the mark is imperceptible. To other lemurs, it is as clear as a written decree. The forest becomes a tapestry of chemical boundaries. Each scent mark delineates feeding routes, resting sites, and territorial claims, reducing the likelihood of conflict by communicating authority in advance. These olfactory signals engage the vomeronasal organ, a specialized sensory structure that allows lemurs to interpret pheromonal information with extraordinary precision. Through scent alone, individuals discern hierarchy, recognize rivals, and assess potential mates. It is a legal system rooted not in sound or sight, but in chemistry. Violations, however, are met with swift aggression. A curious juvenile approaches a marked branch, drawn by the lingering aroma of fruit. Before he can feed, a dominant female charges forward, baring her teeth in a rapid display of authority. The reprimand is brief yet decisive. The offender retreats immediately, his misstep corrected before it can escalate into chaos. Such enforcement ensures that the hierarchy remains intact, minimizing energy expenditure and preventing injuries that could threaten the troop's survival. This system of chemical governance reveals an evolutionary truth: communication reduces conflict. By signaling ownership and rank through scent, lemurs avoid unnecessary confrontations, conserving energy in ecosystems where metabolic efficiency is paramount. Their bodies are finely tuned to extract nutrients from seasonal diets of fruit, leaves, and flowers. Yet their survival hinges on strategic foraging and disciplined social order. Every calorie matters. Every feeding opportunity carries weight. The narrative reveals its reversal as the troop disperses from the feeding site. What appears to be simple aggression is, in fact, a calculated mechanism of survival economics. The displacement of a subordinate is not cruelty, but necessity, ensuring that those most crucial to the group's continuity receive adequate nourishment. In this delicate balance, hunger becomes both punishment and deterrent. To lose feeding time is to lose strength, resilience, and reproductive opportunity. For the subordinate, the consequences are immediate and tangible. Forced to forage at the margins, he must settle for less nutritious scraps, expending precious energy in search of sustenance. Over time, repeated displacement can weaken his physical condition, diminish his social standing, and reduce his chances of reproduction. In the unforgiving calculus of natural selection, the cost of defiance is measured not in wounds, but in wasted calories. Young lemurs observe these interactions with quiet intensity. Perched beside their mothers, they absorb the lessons unfolding before them. Social learning shapes their understanding of rank, scent, and survival, embedding the rules of their society deep within memory. Through observation and imitation, they inherit a system refined over millions of years, a legal code written not in ink, but in instinct. The dominant female resumes feeding, her posture composed and assured. Her authority is neither questioned nor resented. In female-led lemur societies, such dominance ensures stability during periods of scarcity, prioritizing the nutritional needs of those responsible for gestation and rearing. This matriarchal structure represents a rare phenomenon among primates, illustrating the profound influence of ecological pressures on social evolution. As the sun climbs higher, illuminating the spiny forests and baobab-dotted landscapes of Madagascar, the troop moves onward. Their path winds through territories defined by scent and memory, guided by an intricate understanding of resource distribution. Each feeding site is a waypoint in a larger map of survival, and each displacement reinforces the hierarchy that sustains their existence. The forest itself bears witness to these trials. Lichens cling to ancient bark, insects hum in the heat, and distant calls echo across the dry air. Within this fragile ecosystem, lemurs play a vital ecological role as seed dispersers, transporting the genetic legacy of countless plant species across the island. Their movements shape the regeneration of forests, linking survival with ecological continuity. The enforcement of feeding priority ensures that this delicate balance endures. As dusk settles over Madagascar, painting the sky in hues of amber and violet, the troop gathers among the branches to rest. Nests are prepared, infants curl against their mothers, and the forest softens into twilight stillness. The subordinate, though displaced earlier, finds a modest perch at the edge of the group. His hunger lingers, but so too does his understanding. Tomorrow offers another chance to forage, another opportunity to navigate the unwritten laws of his world. Because among lemurs, justice is not pronounced through spectacle or ceremony. It is delivered through access, enforced through scent, and remembered through survival. Every feeding site becomes a courtroom, every scent mark a decree, and every moment of hunger a reminder of the rules that govern existence. Here, authority is measured in nourishment, and punishment is counted in lost opportunity. Lemur trials are written in hunger.